Grab a Starbucks iced refresher, an oversized hoodie, and a pair of Crocs. We're going back to middle school and we're talking money. Earlier this month, I had the honor of speaking at my daughter's 8th grade career day. And let me tell you, presenting to a room full of 14-year-olds, that might be the most intimidating audience I've ever faced. Between you and me, it took me much longer than I'd like to admit picking out my outfit. I've spent years giving financial presentations to packed rooms of advisors and clients who've seen it all, but nothing prepares you for the brutal honesty and brilliance of middle schoolers. I decided to switch it up this year. Instead of diving into what it means to be a money expert like I did last year, I brought the kids into the podcast world of Everyone's Talking Money. I wanted to show them that money isn't just about spreadsheets, stock markets, and savings accounts. It's about feelings, mindset, and the stuff no one really teaches us, but we're expected to just magically know as adults. So I started by asking the room, when I say the word money, what comes to mind? The kids threw out answers like good, green, buying stuff, stocks. And then from the back of the room, I heard it, stress. And guess who said that? The adults, of course. The contrast couldn't have been clearer. The kids saw money as opportunity, freedom, possibility. The adults, they saw pressure, responsibility, maybe even regret. That moment hit me hard, and it got me thinking. When we understand money, we're more likely to feel empowered by it instead of overwhelmed by it. And these kids, they blew me away. They knew what a stock was. They explained the 50-30-20 rule. They talked about delayed gratification, future planning, and even resisting impulse spending. These 14-year-olds have a stronger financial foundation than a lot of adults I know. And I say that with love. What's one of the reasons they know this stuff? Their school offers a financial literacy class. And let me tell you, it shows. And speaking for myself and many of the adults I spoke to that day, we didn't grow up with financial literacy classes. So this year, I turned Career Day into a live podcast workshop. I told them about how I interview people for Everyone's Talking Money. And then, with their permission, I flipped the mic to them. I asked them money questions, and their answers were insightful, thoughtful, and shockingly mature. I could have kept going for hours. Today, I'm going to share some of those conversations with you. And if you're a parent, this is your cue to listen closely. If your child doesn't have access to a financial literacy class in school, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through how to start talking to your 14-year-old or 10-year-old or 5-year-old about money in a way that actually sticks. And just so you know, it's not about lecturing. It's about listening, asking, and engaging them in a way that empowers their voice around money. But before we get into that, I want to take you back for a minute because when I was 14, I had my first job. Yep, I was a toast girl. Let me explain. I grew up in a beach town in New Jersey, and one summer my dad sat me down and said, Shari, you like to buy stuff, and that's fine, but if you want to keep buying stuff, it's time to start earning your own money. So I did what every good daughter does. I listened. I went out looking for work, even though most places didn't hire until you were 15. Eventually, I landed a gig at a seafood restaurant that also served breakfast. My job? Toast. Just toast. I'm pretty sure they made up the job on the spot because they felt bad for me, but it didn't matter. I buttered it, plated it, and sent it out. Saturday and Sunday mornings, I was there making toast like it was a 5-star dish. At first, I figured I'd be paid minimum wage and call it a day. But then something wild happened. The servers started tipping me out 10% of their tips, just like they did with the bussers. I remember riding my bike home that first day with a wad of crumpled dollars stuffed in my apron. I sat on my bed, smoothed every one of them out, stacked them up, and just stared in disbelief. I had never seen that much money that was mine before. And I got to do it again the next day, and the next weekend, and the weekend after that. Plus, I had a paycheck coming. I was hooked. I didn't blow all of it either. A lot of it I blew, yes, but not all of it. I instinctively started splitting my money into piles, some to spend now, some to save for a few months down the road, some to save for many years down the road, some to give. That toast job, as unglamorous as it sounds, taught me one of the most important money lessons of my life. Every dollar should have a purpose. And that's the same message I share with adults and kids today. Because the sooner we start assigning value and intention to our money, the more confident and in control we feel, whether we're 14, 44, or 84. So, in this episode, we're diving into what I learned from those brilliant eighth graders. And I'll share tips for how to start having real, meaningful money conversations with the kids in your life. If you've ever wondered how to teach a teen about money without the eye rolls and resistance, this one's for you. Have you grabbed your hoodie yet? Let's go. What's the smartest money advice you know?
My grandpa always says, like, invest when you're older and, like, don't spend my money on stuff where I don't need to.
Have you followed his advice?
Yeah. So, like, sometimes whenever I, like, think about buying stuff, I just, like, think about it again and, like, I don't know.
Yeah. So, do you have an example of something that you were about to buy and then you said, is this really smart to do?
Yeah, I've thought about that before. Like, if I was, like, buying, like, if I wanted to buy, like, a piece of clothing or something and I, like, had to think about it again, it was, like, expensive or whatever.
I do this trick where if I buy something and I feel like it's a little frivolous, I'll keep it in the trunk of my car and I'll not take it out of the car into the house for a couple days. And if I forget about it, I just keep it in the trunk and I return it to the store. So that pretty much tells you it's a frivolous purchase, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What's one thing you think grown-ups do wrong with their money?
I think they just spend it on their kids, like whatever they want.
I completely agree with you. So what is an adult, a grown-up supposed to do though when their kid comes home and says they have to have the new Lululemon Hottie Hots, right? They have to have them. They're just going to die without them. What is a grown-up supposed to do?
They can have like their kids save money or start doing like chores around the house or like start like making money off of their own, like by doing jobs and pay for them themselves.
Do you receive an allowance?
I think so, but I just like ask my mom for money.
Do you do chores around the house, then ask your mom for money?
Not really, but like I probably should.
So if your mom would say like, hey, can you start taking out the trash every week and can you make sure your room's clean and I'll start giving you an allowance for that? Does that sound like something you'd be in favor of?
Yeah, because I feel like it'd like make my life more organized if I like didn't just like get money from my parents whenever I'd ask. Like if I actually did stuff for money, I feel like I'd like I don't know, I'd feel more accomplished about it and I actually like would like not spend my money on everything.
So you'd appreciate it because you're actually earning it.
Yeah.
What's one job you would love to have when you grow up?
I want to be a professional boxer when I grow up.
Tell me why.
Because, well, I really like the sport and I feel like I'd be good at it. And I already do one type of martial arts. One reason is you can get a lot of money and you can be really popular.
So when you get all of this money being a professional boxer, what are you going to do with it? What's the first thing you're going to purchase?
A house.
What's one job you would love to have when you grow up?
This is actually based off of what my dad and I think my older brother are going to do, but I would actually like to be a pilot. I want a job where I'm not going to have to worry about money later on.
So you want to make sure that you have a job that you can earn a good income and be comfortable and not have to worry about money in the future.
Yes.
If someone gave you $100 right now, what would you do with it?
I would put 50% of it into my savings. I would take 20 and put it and use it to spend money on things I need and 30% on things I want.
That's a very specific strategy. Where did you hear that from?
Miss Garver.
Tell me who Miss Garver is.
She's our financial literacy teacher.
Now, I never had a financial literacy class. Everything I learned, I either was taught in college or I learned myself. So you are incredibly lucky that you have a financial literacy class because you already know more than a lot of adults I work with. So tell me a little bit more nuggets of information that Miss Garver taught you.
Well, she also taught me like how to buy stocks and like how to use your money wisely.
So would you say using your money wisely is having a plan for your money, just like you explained to me earlier?
Definitely.
So when you take a portion of your money and you save it, what are you saving it for?
If you ever need it one day, because you don't know if you're going to need it or not.
How does having money set aside in a savings account make you feel?
Like relief, because if you ever run out of money, like you have some extra money.
What's one thing you think grown-ups do wrong with their money?
Like gamble it or something. Like they spend it on things they think they know, but they really don't.
So what advice would we give to grown-ups about their money then?
Like to save it and use it for something that like somebody else helps them with.
What's something you're saving for right now?
I'm saving for a bike.
What kind of bike?
A track. It's like a Marlin 6.
Tell me a little bit about your strategy to save for this. Are you giving up anything by saving for the bike?
No, I'm not giving up anything. I'm just like working, like and doing stuff to get money, and then I won't spend that money, and I'll just save it up for the bike.
What's one thing you're saving for right now?
Right now I'm saving for Disney because we're going in a few weeks.
And how are you saving for it? Do you get an allowance that you're setting some money aside? What are you doing to save money?
I just put half of whatever money I get into a bag in my closet.
What's something you're saving up for right now?
A car for when I turn 16. I have a custodial account set up, and everything money I get, like jobs and babysitting and birthday money, it just goes straight towards the custodial account.
So you have a strategy to save. Do you know what kind of car you want?
A white Toyota Corolla.
And do you know how much they cost?
The one I want that's used is about $15,000.
Are you giving anything up right now by saving for that? Because that you'll be getting your license and soon enough, but it's still a long way away. So do you feel like you're giving up anything right now or sacrificing in order to make that goal a reality?
Spending on stuff, like any money I would get, I would go shopping with, and now I just put it straight into the savings.
So you're asking, would my future self appreciate me saving this money more than my current self spending the money, right? Do you have a strategy set up for the future expenses of the car?
Yeah, they said if I can pay for the car, then they'll pay for the first year or two of insurance.
That's a good deal. Tell me, what's the smartest money advice you know?
Don't spend it all and put it more into the bank to get interests, and also put in stocks.
So invest. And I know we were talking before that you're already investing. So how do you pick the stocks that you invest in?
I picked the ones that are low and the ones that would actually do very, very soon.
So you're essentially following the golden rule, which is buy low, sell high, right? So you're picking the stocks that are lower in value that you think are going to appreciate in price. Is that correct?
Yes.
And where'd you learn that from?
My father. Sometimes I would just sit in his office and he would be looking at the stocks. He would show me some strategies, what stocks he has, and what price they're at now and what price he bought them.
What is one thing you think grown-ups do wrong with their money?
What I think grown-ups would do wrong with their money is keep it all to themselves.
So when you say keep it all themselves, do you mean like keeping it in a bank account, investing it for themselves, spending it on themselves? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Spending them on themselves and not sharing with anyone.
Sharing as far as like their family members or charity?
Maybe like their families in the children's hospital and charity.
So you're saying, adults should do something good with their money.
Yep.
Yeah. So when you have money, it's always important to have a plan. And we talked about this with one of your classmates of having a plan with your money. So then that way you're doing a little bit of everything. You're doing some good by giving back. You're spending it because you are enjoying part of your hard-earned money and kind of share the wealth.
Uh-huh. Polite.
What is one thing you think grown-ups do wrong with their money?
One thing that I know is that most of the time, not all grown-ups, some actually use them correctly, is they spend it on wants or on smaller things. They start spending it, like, let's say you go to the grocery store and you spend it mostly on credit. I will understand if it's like too high of an expense, so you will have to pay it off later. But some people who constantly do it over and over again with their credit card and it will build up more over time, that can be a big thing to actually handle. Where that's why I prefer debit for much bigger reasons, because that's your actual money. That's not some money that was made up and you have to pay up for later. So
Nowadays, we don't use cash for anything, right? We're always using the credit card. And the problem with that is that it's kind of painless, right? To use. You just swipe the card and then you get the bill, and you don't even get it in the mail anymore. You get an email, right? You get an email of what your bill is, and then you have to pay it. And I see with my kids myself, they don't even understand what money is because all they see are credit cards being swiped. So what you're saying is use your actual money to buy things instead of using a credit card, because if you don't pay off your credit card, you then can accumulate debt. Are you impressed yet? Because we're only halfway through. There are way more tips and tricks and lessons that they're going to share with us. But let's take a quick pause and talk about something that's just as important as earning money, talking about it, especially with kids. Whether you're a parent, guardian, auntie, uncle, or teacher, you're in a powerful position to shape how the next generation thinks about money. And guess what? You don't need to be a financial expert to do it. You just need to start. Number one, start early and start small. You don't need a budget spreadsheet or a lecture. If your kid asks for a toy or a treat or a Starbucks drink, turn it into a conversation. We can buy this today, but that means we won't have money for XYZ tomorrow. Or do you want to use your piggy bank money for this? If they say no, that tells you everything you need to know. They didn't value it enough to spend their own money. And if that's the case, maybe you shouldn't spend yours either. Let them in on the trade off. That is where real learning happens. Number two, be honest about your own mistakes without the shame. Kids are walking BS detectors. If you've made money mistakes, and let's be honest, who hasn't? Talk about them. Tell them what you learned, how you bounced back, and what you do differently now. That's not weakness. They're not going to think less of you. It's wisdom. They're going to respect it and respect you for sharing. Number three, give money real meaning. Don't just say, save your money. Make it tangible. Ask them what they want to save for. Create different savings jars or digital accounts for different goals. One for spending, one for saving, one for giving. Then, when they hit a goal, buy that pair of sneakers or concert ticket that they've been saving for. They're going to feel so much pride due to their planning and patience. And that's a win that they're going to carry through for their lifetime. Number four, talk about values, not just dollars. Ask them, if you had $100, what would you do with it? Their answer opens the door to some powerful insight and conversations. Tell them what you would do with an extra $100 too. Teach them how to use money as a tool, not just a number. Save, spend, and give, all with a purpose. Give it thought and be strategic about it. And finally, don't wait for a teachable moment. Money is everywhere, at the grocery store, in your Amazon cart, on your phone. Use those everyday moments to explain your own money decisions. Tell them why you didn't buy something. Talk about what makes something expensive or a good deal. Because to them, money is just numbers. They need help understanding what those numbers mean. And when they feel like they're part of the conversation instead of a passive listener, that's when the magic happens. They lean in, they ask questions, they start seeing money as something they can control, not something that controls them. All right, let's get back to the episode. So, what are some other ways that people can just use their money instead of accumulating debt on a credit card?
Well, for like smaller purchases and stuff, of course use debit or things that you already know and such. But if you want to get into a higher price things, just start saving and such. And like savings accounts are good ones because you gain interest over time. And there's many other ways where you can build up your money, and if you build it up enough where if you do need to pay off with credit card, you can, if you already have enough money in wealth that's slowly coming in, you'll be able to pay off that like big expense much more, like a car or a house. Like those expenses become less much of a worry, than just becomes more easily.
So I think what you're saying is have a plan for your money, right? So have a plan when money comes in, save a portion of it, spend a portion of it. So then that way, when big expenses come up, you can pay for it without taking on more debt. If someone gave you $100 right now, what would you do with it?
I'd save it
Where would you save it?
in a savings account.
When you say save it, are you saving it for a particular thing or just having it so then you know that the money's there if you needed it in the future?
I would save the money so I can know that I would have it in the future if I would want anything.
How does that make you feel knowing that you would have that money there for you in the future?
It would probably make me feel secure.
If someone gave you $100 right now, what would you do with it?
I'd save it
Where would you save it?
in a savings account.
Do you have a savings account set up right now that you're saving into?
Yes.
What does having a savings account mean to you? Why are you choosing to save it over spending it?
So I know that it's like gaining money while it's just sitting there.
Do you have a plan for your money, or are you just like the idea of accumulating it to know it's there for the future?
Well, I like buy and sell sports cards, so like it's sort of like the stock market where like you can like tell if something's gonna go up or down.
So your sports cards are kind of like your stock. So one card may be worth a higher amount than it was a couple months ago. So you decide to sell the one that you have to make some money. And then when you sell it, do you then buy a new card or do you save that money and use it for something else?
When I sell, like I would save the money until like I feel confident that I am gonna buy another card.
Do you find that the cards fluctuate in value a lot?
Yeah, like I feel like with more like different types of cards, like in different players, like I like mainly try to invest in like rookies, like to see if they're gonna go up.
Have you ever heard of the phrase buy low, sell high?
Yeah,
Do you know what that means?
like buy when like a stock or like whatever is like at a low value and like hope it'll increase in value.
Yeah. So when you're saying you're investing in those rookie cards, they have a low value right now, and you're hoping that they increase in price. That's essentially equivalent to a growth stock. A growth stock is a company that is undervalued and you think it's going to grow. McDonald's, for example, isn't a growth stock because they're already really big. So like a card of, I don't know, Derek Jeter probably doesn't increase in value too much, does it? It just maybe goes up a little bit. But when he was a rookie, it like skyrocketed in price, right? That's kind of the same thing as stock. So a growth stock is something that starts off at a low price and then goes up, where a value stock is a card that kind of just keeps consistent. It's a company that keeps consistent. So you're essentially creating your own stock market with your cards. What is the smartest money advice you know?
Smartest money advice I know is like when my financial literacy teacher told me about the 50-30-20 plan.
So tell me a little bit about that.
You put aside some to save for something, then you pay for things you need, and then the rest is for like something you're choosing.
And what that does is that empowers you with your money. It allows you to make your own decisions with it. So you're controlling your money, not it controlling you. Because oftentimes people have the issue of your money controlling you. So by you having the 50-30-20 plan, that allows you to control your finances. So tell me, how are you investing right now?
I'm not really investing, but my parents are investing for me.
What are they doing for you?
They're putting money in stocks. I look at other stocks online.
Tell me what you look at.
DOW Jones.
That's the Dow Jones. So the Dow Jones is an index which tracks a bunch of companies. And that's really the barometer to see how this stock market is doing. So the Dow Jones, the S&P 500. So when someone says the market did well today, they're talking about the Dow or the S&P 500. What's one thing you think grown-ups do wrong with their money?
I think they like try and save it too much and they should just like have fun with it.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So you think grown-ups, they should start to kind of live their life instead of focus on saving money so much?
Yeah, I think that's more fun. Well, I think like you should save some of it, but like you shouldn't like say no to spending it because you want to like save it all the time.
So there's a balance, right? Living your life, but also planning for the future is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What's one job you would love to have when you grow up?
I want to like combine 3 jobs together because I really want to be a real estate agent, but I also want to be an interior designer. So like when the people buy the house that I sell, they could like have me like design the house like the way that they want, and I could also have like my own business with that because I also want to be an entrepreneur. So yeah.
What about entrepreneurship is attractive to you?
I just like the idea of like creating my own business and like being able to do whatever I want instead of like having to work for someone else.
What's one job you would love to have when you grow up?
Well, I'd really like to be in the Air Force, fly cargo planes.
What is fascinating about that to you?
It's just being in the sky. It feels as if it were your home. There's no other side, no noises, and it just calms me down. It's quite fun to fly an actual plane.
What's one job you would love to have when you grow up?
I want to be an interior designer and I also want to be a real estate agent.
Tell me why.
My family already kind of has a business where they like design houses and build things, so I want to take over that and then get my real estate license in high school.
So you see your family already building their own business. You have an experience in what entrepreneurship is. What about entrepreneurship is attractive to you?
Just being able to have my own business instead of working for other people.
What's one job you would love to have when you grow up?
I really want to be a marine biologist.
Tell me why.
I really like everything that has to do with the ocean and I want to save it.
I also wanted to be a marine biologist when I was younger. I went to SeaWorld and I saw all the whales and turtles, and I said, you know what, that's something I want to do in my future. So have you ever visited marine biologists and learned about their job?
Yes, actually, last year I went to a SCDNR Shadow Day.
I have to be honest. I walked into that 8th grade classroom thinking I was going to teach, and I did, but I also walked out having learned. These kids, they're sharp, they're curious, and when it comes to money, they're already asking the right questions. And more importantly, they're not afraid to talk about it. That alone puts them years ahead of where so many of us started. Imagine how different things would be for you if you had a financial literacy class, or a grandpa that taught you to save instead of spend, or a dad that talked to you about stocks in his office. And here's the kicker. Their financial literacy class, it was only for 1 quarter. That's about 45 school days, 40 minutes a day for 45 days. And it's already changed how they think, how they save, and how they value their money. So imagine what could happen if we made financial education a year-long commitment or a lifelong conversation. When it comes to money, knowledge is power, but confidence, that's freedom. And that confidence doesn't take a finance degree. It starts with real conversations, relatable lessons, and a little bit of time. That's it. So if you've got a kid in your life, whether they're 4 or 14 or heading off to college, don't wait. Talk to them. Ask questions. Let them ask you, because financial literacy doesn't start in a classroom. It starts at home with you. And to the students I met at Career Day, you are the future of money. And honestly, it's in very good hands.